it's 7 Demo 7, and I can tell you I've gotten a lot of questions about how to laminate a Drak. I've done this on my mini Drak. I've done this on a few other airplanes that are not made by Ritewing as well, so I have kind of a lot of experience doing some lamination techniques. So what I'm going to do today is just I'm going to laminate one wing for you guys and also the fuselage. You can use the same technique for this type of airplane or the mini Drak or any other EPP molded airplane that you can. It's suggested by the manufacturer actually to not laminate this airplane. I choose to, and the person that I'm making this for wants to have it laminated as well, and I applaud them for that. So you can go either way. You can try and laminate this or not, so it's really up to you. So you've got some options here. And really there's not a lot that goes into this. It's basically you're going to have your heat iron, and I have it set to just a little bit above halfway. You don't want to be burning anything. If you leave the iron in one spot for too long, you can burn stuff. You're going to need your laminate. You can choose to either go 5 mil or 3 mil. I tend to go with 3 mil. It's a little bit more pliable and workable, especially for these complex shapes. And also you're going to need a decent cutting knife that has a snap-off blade, so you can always have a fresh blade. You always want to make sure you have a fresh blade. And maybe some scissors from time to time, but it's not completely necessary. Make sure you have something nice to drink, and we'll get started. So guys, I'm not intending this to be a start-to-finish tutorial, so I'm just going to start laminating, and when I have some pearls of wisdom, I'll go ahead and throw them out there, and then you guys can take that information for what it's worth. So let's go ahead and laminate a wing first, and then we'll get to the main fuselage, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, so I have my main wing here. This is the left wing, and basically I'm going to size it up, make sure it's really clean. I know this is clean just because I just got done painting it like 2 days ago. I'm going to take my roll out, and I'm just going to kind of, what I'm going to do here is just kind of plan out how this is going to wrap around the wing. Now ideally I'd like to have the laminate start about 2 inches in on the wing, wrap around, and then go another 2 inches onto the other side, so that way you have double coverage on the leading edge of the airplane. That's normally the way I like to laminate my wings. So let's go ahead and take out some laminate here. We'll cut some out, and we'll see how this is going to pan out. Now laminate, guys, has a shiny side and a opaque side. So obviously the opaque side is going to go towards your wing. I shouldn't say obviously because maybe you guys are new at this. Make sure you have a nice clean surface to work on. I'm going to get out quite a bit here just so we make sure we're not short anywhere. And it's okay, guys, if you happen to have a small bit on the corner that's not laminated, you can just go back and laminate over that because it really leaves almost zero seam where that tends to be, and that's okay. It's acceptable. So we'll take that much right there. That much is, and let me just tell you how much this is. A little bit, probably about 41 inches, and this is 25 inches wide. And for you people over in Europe, 99, probably about 110 millimeters by 63 centimeters. Millimeters, sorry. Alright, so what I'm going to do is to start planning this out. Like I said, I'd like to have the front side of the wing laminated about 2 inches or so here. Okay, so I'm going to have a little bit of a gap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this on the other side so that the whole top side will be the one that's covered, since that's the one that's going to be more aesthetic. So let me start this on the bottom side of the wing instead of the top. I'm just going to lay this back out, and we'll switch this over to the other side. So we'll switch this to where we have about an inch of overlap on the leading edge. And let's go ahead and fold this over and see how we do. What we want to do is have minimal spots where we have to relaminate. Okay, this is looking just perfect, and what I'm going to do is actually get this off here. So I'm going to cut it here and here, and then we'll put, see, all we have is just this tiny little corner that we have to relaminate. So what we'll do is we'll put that little piece on first, then we'll go everywhere else afterwards. Let's see here, I'm just gonna pull it here, take that off, and we're just gonna take off this little bit of an end because it's kind of bunched up here. Don't worry about this table, guys. It's just old laminate from my house when we did that. So I'm just gonna eyeball this little spot right here where we need a little bit of laminate. We're gonna put that on first, and then we'll go from there. So I'm just gonna unravel this right here, and we shall go ahead and laminate that. Once again, just above half heat for this iron here. Just gonna really just kind of tack this into place. I'm not really even gonna put too much emphasis on this because we can come back and laminate that spot in a moment. Okay, so since we had this all in place here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get this leading edge here nice and tight. And we might have to cut a little bit of relief. I might actually, because the Drak wing comes up here on the end, I may not laminate that. I might put a little relief cut right there. So I'm going to start in the middle here. And I'm just going to start right on the leading edge. I'm just going to touch it and bring it forward a little bit. You don't really want to pull the laminate because pulling the laminate will actually make running wrinkles. So I'm going to see how I'm doing just a little bit at a time. When you do it a little bit at a time, it prevents those running wrinkles. There we're gonna go. There we go. I'm just kind of touching it into place. Just gonna lightly go over the leading edge now, so I can roll that over onto the other side. So I kind of have just this kind of mildly stuck into place. I'm gonna cut a relief here for this little bit of. Otherwise, I'm gonna get some wrinkling here. Otherwise, there we go. So, all right. So let's flip this over to the other side. Again, I'm gonna cut this off right here, right before that little end piece. I'm taking my shears. The cool thing about laminate, guys, is don't worry if you make a mistake, because if you have to re-laminate over another spot, it's not going to make a big difference at all, because just putting another layer of laminate is only going to add strength, and you really won't even see it, which is kind of nice. Okay, so I've got this nice and tacked down here. I'm going to kind of just run this along the leading edge here so that it kind of, you don't want to have any bubbles or anything on the leading edge, which is kind of one of the biggest mistakes you can make on laminating a wing. So I'm just kind of feathering this up so it's kind of slightly tacking it into place. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, so pull it into place here. Make sure there's no wrinkles that are going to be happening. You see, I can see that right here. There's probably going to be a little bit of wrinkle. And if you get a big wrinkle, you can actually cut it and lay it over itself. So I'm going to start this on the center right here. Just going to put a big stripe right here. And we're going to do this in stripes because it prevents running wrinkles. There we go. Don't let the iron stay in one place for too long. So I'm just going to kind of feel this into place here. I'm going to put another one right here. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'm just going to move this over here a little bit. So I'm going to go here. Like I said, don't pull it too much because pulling it can actually make running wrinkles. There we go. So if you have a wrinkle that's going to run from here all the way over here, it's now being stopped by these stop points here. Let me go ahead and get this going here. Now we can just start joining them all in just a moment here. So I'm going to laminate this whole edge over here and slowly start to never leave your iron in one place for too long. Just go in real small bursts. You can always go back and you'll be able to see where it's laminated and where it's not because of the darkness. You can see obviously the color is going to start coming through right here. Once again, I didn't mention this, but I didn't use any Super 77 or anything like that. It's not really necessary on this model because the laminate sticks so well to Plastidip. So this airplane was painted with Plastidip before this. Now here I can see there's a big gap right here in the. I'm just gonna put a little knife cut right here so that this can actually wrap over to bring this all the way out, unfortunately. Okay, so instead of having that big wrinkle there, I basically put a cut here and I laid one underneath the other. So that's basically it. So I'm going to laminate this one first and then the other one. So it's, you know, no matter how good you get at this, you're going to start to get some of those little wrinkle spots. All right, there we go. That's what okay. So there is the top of the wing and the first inch of the wing here. So I'm going to wrap this all the way around. again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this fairly tight here, and then I'm going to just run the iron over this back leading edge. You don't want to have any gaps of consistency in this back leading edge, this back trailing edge, I should say. So I'm just going to roll this over, start to hit it here in spots, just to start to get the laminate going in the right direction. I'm not actually rolling it all the way over yet. There we go. Just going to start to tack this trailing edge in place here, just really lightly, just kind of getting that tension on there. So we just did this trailing edge here and it looks really nice, it's really straight. So what I'm going to do is just kind of feel this into place. Once again, I'm just going to take my hands, just kind of really going to feel it into place, make sure there's no wrinkles that are going to come up. It looks like there might be some wrinkles that are coming up between what's going on here. So I'm going to try and get this as flat as we can, just like that. And let's go ahead and put a stripe right down the center here. Like I said, the stripes prevent those running rings. Okay, so guys, that's basically it for this wing. I'm going to roll this over to the other edge here, but you can see it needs to laminate a little bit more right here. So let's go ahead and finish this up, and then we'll go on to the fuselage here. Just as I was thinking about it here, there's another couple of reasons why laminating the wing is actually a nice thing. As you guys know, there are these channels where the spars lie. You do have to fill these up with goop, and sometimes it can kind of be uneven, and sometimes there still remains a little bit of a channel there. So when you put the laminate on there, it just makes this into a nice smooth airfoil. So you do have that going for you. So this is basically all finished. I haven't tacked down a couple of these little spots here. You'll see a little bit of a area where I still need to go back over, but basically this is all done. So let's go ahead and go on to the main fuselage. So take your roll and make it just about as long as the fuselage, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 inches of overhang on either side, because we are going to wrap this over the top of the nose, maybe a little bit longer overlap on the top. Don't worry about going around the sides. I did not laminate the sides when I was doing my mini Drak, and don't worry about laminating into the main body here. Alright guys, let's go ahead and lay this over. We'll start to laminate here. I think I'll start from this top end here. So I want to make sure that this is as accurate as it can be. Then we'll run our iron down this direction here. So right here. It's looking pretty good, so I'm just going to start to expand out on this a little bit. Just not pulling too much, just making sure there's no wrinkles anywhere. There we go. Bring it all the way to the back. So there's these little turbulators on the back here. Just don't worry about those. We're going to just cut and down the center and then laminate on either side, because they're not really adding much strength back here. It's just for the laminar airflow. Now we have to start deciding where we're going to put our cuts for the side here, and basically I'm going to wrap this around the nose, and this is going to be a lot of this excess is going to be cut off. And I can take a single piece of laminate and actually help with this as well, and where some of these darts are going to go. On the mini Drak, I didn't have to start these quite as high up, so you can see these are going to come through in stripes here. You can see there's going to be a big spot right here where we need to put a dark. I'm going to put a little cut right here because these are where two surfaces come together, and those are actually going to come together and overlap, which is nice. Keep all your overlaps going towards the rear, so if you have overlap, make sure they face towards the rear. So you're going to do the rear, the furthest one back first. And this is, I want this to overlap all the way down to the bottom, so. And it looks like I might need to dart it right there one more time. Same exact thing, guys, that I did on my mini Drak. Now this overhang, I just wanted to overhang about an inch or so onto the main fuselage because we are going to put a whole nother layer above this. Okay, let's get rid of some of this bulk here. Alright, so right here I'm going to cut all the way to the nose. Cut to right there. And this nose portion is now going to laminate over the top here. So we'll do that in just a second here. Let's go ahead and get this tacked down. Like I said, it's not that hard when you kind of get the idea of what you need to do. Okay guys, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this other side, and we'll go ahead and I'll pause here. I'm going to flip to the bottom, so the next scene you'll see is me doing the bottom of this. But we're going to go ahead and lay a whole layer down the center of this, just get it really nice and tight on here. And like I said, you've got these little pieces that are patchwork here, but this is all going to be coated over really nice. So I didn't deal with this landing bump on the mini Drak, so I'm going to see what I can do about getting that nice and smooth. It's going to be a little difficult, but I'm going to go ahead and lay another layer straight over the top of this, and we'll get started. I am not going to laminate the very back trailing edge. There's no reason to wrap that up. It's just going to create more headache than anything and make it look bad. So I'm going to layer this over one more time, about 3 or 4 inches there. Go. Okay, so I'm going to make everything go smooth from basically here to here, which is that bump, and then we'll go from there. And this is kind of nice. This is nice and flat, that we can start off on the nice flat section. That'll give us a nice starting point. So let's go ahead and start there. Once again, kind of smooth everything out with your hand first. That always really helps out. Kind of gets you an idea for where everything's going to lay out. And if everything is nice and flat, and it is, so I'm going to go ahead and start with a stripe here. Yeah. Let's go ahead and start going from this main spar to the small spar. Right here, we'll just do this to the outside, then we'll do the back side, and we'll worry about these curvature edges here in a moment here. Now, since the nose is mainly laminated all the way up, I'm only going to bring this laminate up about halfway up the nose. I don't have to go all the way up to the top and layer it over or anything like that. We don't need to do that. So I think what I'm going to do, this is going to be kind of cool. Okay, so it has 3 dimensions. It has this kind of bump going forward and this to the side. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the bump going forward, then I'll make some dart marks here, that way it'll flatten out. So I'm going to laminate to here, which I have, and then laminate from here, and this will make it nice and flat. and then we'll dart here to get this nice and flat here. So I think what I'll do is I'll cut here and here, and then laminate this flat here. We'll lap these over each other here. Here. Once again, I'm not going to laminate this all the way through until we get kind of things in place, and then I'm just kind of tacking it right now, and then we'll come back and we'll get the finals going with it, and I'll laminate this a little bit here with some darts. I might come through with some other strips there. Okay, so we're just going to laminate the sides here. There we go. We're just going to cut the nose straight in like this, so we can lap that over the front. We'll have a double layer. Okay. Alright, and we'll start from the back and work our way to the front one more time. This all looks kind of choppy right now, but when it's all finished, it's really nice, so don't worry if it looks a little choppy right now. Okay, so for that, once again, I will do this other side off camera since I've kind of already done this side, but I'll show you how I wrap everything together here. So I'm just going to pull the nose here, like I've got this little extra tail here. Just going to pull this nice and tight, laminate that. Get this on here. Like I said, that's going to add an extra bit of protection. And this gentleman is going to be putting a run cam on the front most likely, so a lot of this might be cut out, but it will give some extra added protection there. So, okay, so I'm just going to go back right now. I'm just going to laminate down all these little free pieces right here. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up this other side, and I'll go back and I'll just show you how I cut out all this extra stuff. And okay guys, I pretty much have everything sealed up and ready to go. Now there still is a couple small little spike lines here that we didn't get laminated, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small piece of laminate here, just place it along that small spike there. I'm just going to patch it, and okay guys, make sure once again that you have a very sharp snap blade here. I'm just going to go through here, take off some of the excess. I'm going to slice these turbulators down the center and get those laminated through. I'm going to take off all this section and also my side saddles. Go ahead here. Okay, and each of these turbulators, I'm going to just put a little cut line all the way down the center of it, and then we'll laminate either side. If you want to get really technical, you could lay another piece on the inside and get that laminated over the top. I don't think it's necessary though. Alright guys, so I'm just going to speed this up pretty quickly here. I'm just going to cut out my two bays here and the main section here. And like I said, I'm not gonna make this laminate go to the inside. It's just gonna go right to the edge of the paint. That is basically it. So make sure your knife is sharp once again. Okay, and just the top section, it can't get any easier here. You're just gonna start from the top and work your way down. Okay guys, that is it. That is the end of the Drak lamination tutorial. Like I said, it's not really a tutorial, it's mainly kind of tips and tricks. This is the same process that I went through for my mini Drak. The mini Drak is much easier to deal with because of its small size, but I still have a couple of spots to kind of shore up here, but in general that's what we do. I have my wing down over there, but what's really nice is that when you do laminate, it does bring out the nice color that you've painted on here. It makes it even stand out that much more. So anyway guys, I appreciate you hanging in there for this video. It's quite long, I apologize, but hey, if this is the information that you need, it's here for you guys. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.